Welcome back to Myth Mental Health. It's been a little bit of a while. I've been busy with some things, work, projects that I'm working on, but I'm Justin A.Williams. I'm an author of Reborn Virtues Constellation. There's two editions. There's the first edition, has my face on it. That's on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles, and the second edition has a brand new cover, brand new artwork, depicting the scenes of the book in the book. So they're both great editions. Go copy yourself a copy right now. I really appreciate it if you did. So what are we talking about today? So today what we're going to talk about is a theme, right? We're not going to talk about a specific myth only. We're going to talk about the theme of kingship. If you watch Game of Thrones, and if you watch Lord of the Rings, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, if you're a fan of stories like Things Fall Apart or Okonkwo, even if they're not formalized kings, these kind of king-like characters, what is the upside and downside mythically of being a king? And how can this prepare you to live a better life yourself, and the lessons you can take from this mythical theme and help improve your mood? So kingship is complicated, right? Everybody seems to, when they're not king, want to be the king. They want to be the decider. They want to be someone that is in power. And they want to be, some people, when they're king, rule justly, like Marcus Aurelius or Mansa Musa. They do what's best for their people. They see themselves as a part of society, not above society. But the feudal era in the world was complicated with a lot of danger, a lot of wars. I mean, the bloodiest times in history maybe are the feudal era. I mean, you have the expansion of the Arabic Caliphate during the medieval era. You have the expansion of the Frankish kingdoms, the wars in Europe, 7 Years' War, 30 Years' War, the wars with Protestants versus Catholics. It seems like in Europe and in Africa, and the Middle East, even maybe in Asia, this is a time where people are really battling for secession, right? A lot of people want to be king because they want their, some kings used to say, my face will be on people's face thousands of years from now. You'll see resemblance of me. This is true of Genghis Khan, someone who was a ruler and a king in his own right, who I think 2/3 of the world are related to him, which is fascinating. Unbelievable. And it speaks to, I think, also the dangers of kingship too, that if you come for the crown, you better not miss, but if you don't miss, everybody's taking shots at you. Reminds me of the story of Balder, the son of Odin, who you would think would be like the inheritor of the throne of Odin in Norse mythology. He gets imbued with invulnerability. Everybody takes shots at him, right? And it's like weird. Once you get that crown, why is it then that everybody feels like, whether they're friends or foes, or they're joking or they're serious, everyone takes shots at you? Now, in your own life, you may think that you can relate to that, right? You get an award, you have a good grade. My mother was always talk about she'd come home with good grades, and she wasn't necessarily celebrated the way she wanted to be. You win a race, you get a promotion. Maybe you legitimately, literally become a king, right? If you're in the royal family of in somewhere in the world. And when that happens, not everyone is excited for you. And when people are not excited for you, that can be a real downer. To be enthroned, to be chosen. Remember, most people who were kings thought they were chosen by God or whatever they worshipped to be in that seat. But I think if you personalize it and you see that when you ascend to a level that you want, a king-like role in life, if you see it as a responsibility, a duty to not only raise up other people to a similar level, right? Like if I'm the boss, I want my people who work for me, my associates, to one day be bosses themselves. It's a very altruistic model, but it's also a very self-help model. Because if you empower other people, that's going to come back and empower you in ways that are very easy to see, but also not so easy to see, in ways that are complicated and simple. And I think for our own mental health, we need to be prepared for the times when we are attacked like Balder, or we are people come for the crown, your own crown in your own life. You may think to yourself, oh, I'll never be a king in some way. I'll never be a boss. I'll never be a Michael Jordan level individual. But the calling comes and you have to answer it. And when that happens, if you see it as a responsibility, a duty to be honorable, to be kind, to be just and fair, but also tough love, sometimes too, honesty comes with that, then you are truly going to be someone that I think, like King Arthur is remembered as a great king, not because he conquered. I don't know any stories where he creates an empire, but it's his heart, right? It's the duty to the realm that makes him a great legendary king. If you look at another king like, one of my favorites is obviously Marcus Aurelius, but if you compare him to Nero, totally selfish individual, punishing people that think differently than him, not empowering those around him, in fact, depowering those around him. He had a great tutor who was Seneca, one of the leading Stoics of all time, and he ordered him to kill himself after years, decades of being like a father to him. This is kingship gone wrong. This is the corruption of kingship. This is not what any god or universe would want. But, things are complicated in religion too, in myths. I mean, if you look at just the story of the Yahwist, the rise of the Yahwist literature in Hebrew, in Judaic faith, right? If you subscribe to the Karen Armstrong model, that the Yahwists come out of the Canaanite religion, and they pick El Shaddai or Yahweh to be their god. Yahweh is not always kind and loving, right? Yahweh says, I make a deal with you. He's a covenant. If you break it, I'm going to be harsh. If you keep it, we're good. And when you don't keep it, when I see you slipping, I'm going to send an enemy to right your path. This can not necessarily be an evil form of or bad form of kingship, right? Sometimes as a king or a leader, you have to make tough decisions that no one else agrees with, that no one else sees. And we've talked on this podcast before about having correct vision, right? That's a very Buddhist model, right? Right words, right intention, right thought, right vision. I know this because I basically grew up going to a Buddhist temple, practicing Kung Fu and meditation and Chan Buddhism for my teenage years. And I think it's interesting that Buddhism empires all fell because of the nature of what they wanted to be as kings, right? If you look at the king Ashoka, the great Indian king who was first a bloodthirsty ruler, all about conquering, and he did. Successful in war, great warrior, but then he becomes Buddhist and he changes his whole mentality. He changes his whole lifestyle. Of course, the Buddhist kingdom can't really stand because if empires are not expanding in the human world, they are shrinking. There's always going to be someone else coming for your kingdom. And that brings me to my last point, which is that find a way to defend yourself. It doesn't always have to be like, I love martial arts. You don't always have to take martial arts to learn how to defend yourself. Use your words. Learn how to debate. Go online and watch great debaters on both sides of the aisle, right? If you're going to watch someone like Rationality Rules, who I'm a big fan of, Christopher Hitchens, a great debater, Thomas Sowell, a great debater, go listen to Ben Shapiro, even if you disagree with him. They have technique. They know what they're doing, right? You want to talk like you know what you're doing. Talk slowly, deliberately. Speak to people as if you are confident. And if you don't feel confident, practice techniques that other people have used to become confident. Because I truly feel like anyone can become confident. Anyone can wear that crown. And when you hold yourself with that crown, understanding the dangers and the attacks that will happen, but also understanding the great fruits that can come with the reward for a lifetime of labor, right? That's why I really like kings that become king or emperors later in life, not when they're thrust into the role when they're teenagers, like a Henry VIII. He's very famous. Then I think what we find within myth is the capacity to expand our realms and do so in a beneficial manner for all around us and be a part of society, not above it. And that's the power of myth for our mood and to improve our state of being and state of mind. So thank you for listening to this episode of Myth Mental Health. Like, share, and subscribe, and there'll be more videos to come. Thank you.